It's time to talk sports, it's time for the show. When you hear this song on the radio, it's time to tune in, better act fast. Let me get that autograph. Potograph, Sports Talk Radio. Starting now.
Let's go! What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 159 of Let Me Get That Potograph. As always, my name is Drew, or the DH, and joining me, my awesome co-host, Mr. Scott Rappaport. What's up, dude?
Dude, what is going on?
A lot of moving and changing, a lot of stuff going on. On the personal side of things, but everything else is going good.
All right, good to hear, man. I know you've been traveling a lot in the last week, and I just got back from doing a show this weekend, and it's been a busy week for everybody. Been a
busy week in the hobby.
I know. Been a busy week in the hobby. I mean, we got that episode out last week a little bit late.
Yes, apologies for that, guys. Travel kind of held that up a little bit, and bringing in the wrong laptop didn't help, but
Yeah, that's the downside with working with multiple devices. Is sometimes you don't have room for everything. That's why I try to consolidate everything into one as much as I can. But that was, I had a lot of fun last week with that episode. Trading Card Chick, absolutely love her. She's great. I was excited to listen to that one to see how the interview came out after we did it, and I was very, very happy with with that one. So started this week off on a good note.
Yeah.
But there's a but. There's always a but.
Oh, yeah.
Another week, another scandal.
Jeez.
And this one is big.
Oh, this one's huge.
And it's not the one y'all are thinking of.
No.
We'll be talking about that one a little bit later.
We'll end the show with that.
Yeah. So another trimming issue.
Yeah, start us off. Kick us off. I'm going to let you roll us into this one.
So Golden's running an auction last week with a Tom Brady Contenders auto. Fortunately, it was not one of the ones numbered to 100. It was just a base, and by base, there's still like a $40,000 card,
and it's still a very limited print run, as they were not doing a ton of them back then.
No, exactly, and I don't think they were. I think they were even less of a print run than the typical like 999 that they were doing for a little while for the base ones.
100%.
Yeah, so auction was running on Golden, and the guys on blog forums that look into these kind of things, I have no idea what made them look at this card. But they do a bang up
behind it. The promotion behind it. Those guys, if they see any big card up, they're going to look at those cert numbers, do everything, all the research they can, because I don't know where they find the time or everything, but it's like they have Spidey sense alerts that send out when a cert needs to be looked at. But these guys are phenomenal over there. But I mean, any big card that's promoted like that, they're going to research every single one of them.
And I love the fact that they can take a non-serial numbered card and still match it up and find out, and realize that, hey, this is the exact same card. Yes. Well, the original was graded a 6. I think it was a 9 auto or an 8 auto or something like that.
Yeah.
But the one that was up on auction at Golden was graded an 8, which is a pretty significant bump for
massive
going
bump.
from a 6 to an 8.
So, isn't it about? I mean, it's over a $25,000 bump, isn't it?
Something like that. Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge bump.
Auto is still a 9, so that didn't change at all. And they called it out. Now the auction ended, but Golden in their, this is one of those times where, look, we all have things that, all of the different feelings that we think about Ken and the auction company and things like that. But this is one of those things that shined because they decided to void the auction.
Mm-hmm.
So they removed it from their comps. They, the guy didn't have to pay.
Yeah, basically like it never existed.
It's exactly like the auction never existed.
Right.
So good for Golden for doing that. Props to Ken and the team for that one.
Yeah.
Now we have a small little problem though, because again, we have a situation where it went from PSA to PSA.
Yeah.
So that brings up a couple of issues that I kind of wanted to talk about. And one of them is obviously it was trimmed in some way, shape, or form.
Yes.
Or flattened, or or whatnot. And the guys at PSA didn't catch it.
Yeah.
And these are the things that they're. I mean, this is their bread and butter. This is what they are supposed to catch.
No, and these big cards, they have multiple graders. The head graders, like they have to get multiple. I know the process. I've spoken with people.
Yep.
There's multiple people that look at these cards. I can tell you, based on everything that I could see, like by scans at least, this was a press and trim job. Because it did look. I mean, it fits the holder exactly how the other one was. This was a press and trim, which is the new norm. It looks like, for those of you unfamiliar, we talked about it on episodes before. Massive machine basically presses the card down. You get that 1/8 of an inch. You're able to trim a little bit off and get those whitened edges off. Now, what I want to know, and I mean, this is something they really should have caught, because, like I said, there's 3 people looking at the card. But, it wasn't one of the ones numbered out of 100. There's got to be a way now when a card is graded, and I know card companies have said this, but we've got to find a way to have something on the card to prove that it's been graded before.
Here's the thing. It's not like the population on these cards is that big.
No, it is.
And PSA has recently done it where if somebody cracks it out of the slab, and, especially with serial numbered cards, even though the serial numbers don't show up in the pop reports, they still keep track of those, because they will tell you that, hey, this card's been graded already. It was graded X. If you want to have it reslabbed as X, right, that's fine. We'll do it. Otherwise, we're not going to grade the card.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It's going to stop people from, trying to grade the exact same card 10 times to try to get that bump in the grade. And frankly, I think it's a waste. I mean, it's a waste of somebody's money. But besides that, now here's what I don't get though. Again, we're not talking about a card that has a million copies that are out there. If the guys at Blowout Forums can say with 100% certainty that this is the same card, why can't the guys at PSA say that too?
That's my point. The guys from Blowout had little to no time to do this. They had all the time in the world to do this. And they were the ones that had the card in hand. That was kind of what I was saying. Like, if these big cards, they need a database of every single one that's been graded. They need photos of them. And every single card that comes in that's a big card like that with an autograph on it, where you can distinguish that is the same autograph, because you can tell if you put different autographs up if they're the same or not. There's got to be some way to improve that process, because I understand having mix-ups on small things and things like that. But when multiple people are looking at stuff and it's a card of this magnitude, you've got to be more diligent. I don't care how busy you are. I know how busy they are. I know exactly how busy they are. I just spoke to them in person this weekend. But it doesn't matter. Like, when it comes to something like that, you've got to take your time and you've got to get it right.
Yeah, and what's the cost to grade a card of that value?
Of that value? Yeah, I mean, you're looking at
$1,000.
Yeah, I mean, at the 8 level, you're probably going to get bumped up to like super premium around maybe 2,500 or so.
Okay,
possibly.
So maybe it's one of those things where they, any card that has, that's valued at over, let's say, 10 grand, right, as whatever grade that it comes in at, they go through the due diligence, because they, look, they got a lot of cards that are, in the couple hundred range. They get a lot of cards in the, 1,000, 2,000 range. Yeah. And a lot of those are still mass produced cards, but you don't have a lot of cards like this.
Right.
That you have scans of the vast majority of them that you did. And somewhere along the line, this one, when it was a 6, obviously somebody took pictures of it and put it somewhere.
That's my point.
Whether it was in their own database or whether or not it was, just somebody online who posted.
Right.
It's out there. And if the guys from Blowout Forums can find it in a matter of, a couple of hours and compare the two, PSA can certainly do that.
Absolutely. A Google Lens search would pull that up.
Yeah. And, especially with all the technology that they've got in-house.
That's my point. Yeah.
There is no excuse
And with the, I
for
mean,
that
and
on
shoot,
a
I didn't
card
even
like
think
that.
about this until right when you said this, but acquiring the Genament service, half of that software is meant to do that exact same thing. Pick out specifics on a card and be able to identify it when it comes through again. Like that was one of the things that was already built into the software, because when we spoke with him, the creator that now works over at PSA in their development and everything like that, he told me that not all of the software is complete. It's being built and they know how they were going to build it, but it was very much still a work in progress. But one thing it could do was identify specific markers on cards to be able to tell when they're resubmitted. And if you acquire that software, I know they say they're not using it on a lot of different stuff. What you got to start using it. You got to start doing something.
And again, especially on a card of this magnitude.
Yes. I'm not saying every card. I'm not saying every Herbert or every Burrow or even every Brady that comes through you should take a look at. But a Brady Contenders auto, a card that is going to go down as one of the most legendary cards of this era, you have to take a look at, especially when it has an autograph that makes it to where you can easily distinguish it even further.
Yeah, there have not been, two examples of that card that have popped up where the autograph is exactly the same, and typically it can't be. It's moved slightly on the card, or the ink is
something.
The pen kind of ran out at a trailing end somewhere along the line, or even in the middle, and the pressure points are all different, and then that's where the autograph authenticators come into play.
Yep.
But it's one of those situations where they have this technology, they should be using it, especially on a card like this. And you were right. Not every base optic Herbert that comes in needs to get the treatment. Not every Topps flagship Wander Franco base that is sitting in their backlog right now needs to get this treatment. Yeah. But probably the most iconic football card in the last 30 some odd years, or maybe even more, absolutely deserves that treatment.
Yeah.
So they need to step up their game. But here's the thing: this isn't the only other issue with them this week.
No. And this one's absurd.
This one, there's no excuse for it. Now here's the thing, and I've been trying to get my hands on this card. And the reason that I've been trying to get my hands on this card is because it looks like there's a break mat behind it, and it looks like it's Brandon Summers' break mat. So I know him well. His shop's not down, not far from me. It's down the street. He's like, he's also a client of mine too. Right. I should be able to get this in my hands. But they remember, so with Topps, I believe it was last year.
It was last year.
Yeah, they did the Through the Years cards as part of the 70th anniversary, and they put some iconic cards on there. They're slightly smaller. They've got a border on them, and the autograph is printed on the card. And it's printed. It's not an actual autograph. It's a facsimile autograph. And sure enough, there was a Justin Verlander one that PSA graded, and it wasn't even a send it in and grade the card and do a dual service. No, somebody sent this card in because it is listed as trading card, which means they sent it in specifically because of the autograph.
The auto, yeah.
And they authenticated it.
Yes, I know. It's ridiculous, dude.
And I will say that PSA is not immune to that, because Beckett recently gave one an autograph grade of 10 on a card that it was another one of the Through the Years cards. It was a Trout and Ohtani.
Yeah.
And that popped up too. I had an image of that saved around here somewhere. I just can't seem to find it. But it's one of those things where these guys, this is so obvious.
It's so obvious. And all right, first off, Beckett had graded one, and a lot of new people, when they got into the hobby, thought they had pulled an autograph. When these first came out, there were a lot of posts in a lot of rooms. Shout out to Geo and Sports Card Nonsense, where there's some just absurdly ridiculous posts every single week. If you want humor, that's somewhere to go for sure. But so many people in person thought they got the auto that I thought this card was very common knowledge in the hobby that these are reprint autographs. If you could look at the card and tell, I thought this was common knowledge and thought of as a complete and total laughing stock that Topps even did it to begin with. And
no, I understand. Look, I understand why they did it. They were printing, they did a card that had an image of an iconic card that was released. I don't fault Topps at all.
No, I don't either.
For doing that.
I
fault the collective stupidity of the hobby.
Yes.
Because, you have guys, and not just in nonsense, but you also have guys like in the 101 sports card room.
Yes.
You had guys posting, because a lot of them originally were serial numbered cards.
Uh-huh.
And when they reprinted the card on, the through the years card, they also included a serial number. Yeah. There were a ton of that were had the serial number 101, and all these guys are going crazy, like, asking like 30-40 grand for this card, thinking they pulled a 101 auto of like Ohtani or Mike Trout or pick any of them, and of course they get they're getting laughed out of the room, which is fine.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I'm the guy at the last show. I had a 1990 Fleer Jose Uribe SGC 9.5 in my case with a $500,000 price tag on it, but I did that as a joke.
Yeah.
And we all know about the card. We all know the money laundering thing or whatever. And like nobody noticed it until day 2 in the morning. And, some guy who didn't have any idea of why it was like asked me about it. I'm like, so I explained it was a joke and, had all the, it gave him the reasoning, the whole story behind it. And, all of a sudden he just starts dying laughing, which is fine, which is exactly the response that I wanted. And I put it next to a Joe DiMaggio autograph card. That was the best part. So, but look, there's the guys that were posting him as a joke, and that's fine. But there's the guys that were posting him and being serious about it, like thinking they hit this massive card. And no, but now to find that, not one, but 2 of the, grading companies and authentication companies have authenticated these, as real autos. It's like, seriously?
I know. And I'm almost wondering if the person that sent it in didn't send it in to see if they could get it to pass by. Because why else would you send the card?
and that's a possibility. I mean, unless you just don't tell anybody. You think, hey, this is awesome. I pulled this Verlander, rookie auto out of, reprint out of, and maybe they're a huge Verlander fan. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
But it's one of those things where it's like, this should not have happened.
No.
And this has nothing to do with the Gentleman technology or training or anything. No, this is autograph authentication 101.
Yep.
And there is no way this should have happened. Now I understand on the Beckett side of things, because that card was sent in for grading, and then they graded the autograph as well. So the grader may not have known the difference. They should have. Absolutely.
Yeah.
If they,
and that was also sent in at the very beginning. That was right when the product came out.
But if you can't tell the difference between live,
I agree. You don't need to be
grading. You shouldn't
be
cards.
anywhere near grading a card.
But the fact that this was sent in specifically for authentication,
right,
and it's still passed, is mildly disturbing.
Yeah, I agree.
At best. And we haven't heard anything from PSA about this, and I think they're probably dying to get that card back, so they can get it out of that slab. But this is the you put something up on the internet, it's there forever.
Yep.
But I want to talk. I got to reach out to Brandon, and I just saw him this weekend too. I should have asked him about it, but I completely forgot. And I'm gonna reach out to him and see if I can, because I kind of want that card.
Yeah, I don't blame you. See if you can. I know Brandon real well as well, but I don't get to see him. I'm not right down the street. So
yeah, no, I see him. I see him all the time. So
get that card so we can have it, because we'll be doing a lot of video from when we record these shows here the next few weeks and from now on. So see if you can get your hands on that card. We'll put it on the letter rip. It'll be on every episode.
Yeah. I'll see what I can do. I don't know if he owns it or if he just had
I know.
A picture of it or what the story is, why he got it. But that's definitely his break mat behind it.
It is.
So that was taken, and I'm wondering, what he had the break mat at the show this weekend. I'm wondering if somebody brought that to his table and he had that.
Yeah, and he's like,
I took a picture at the show, so he may not have it, but I'll see if he does. I'll see if I can get my hands on it. So,
but yeah, that I agree, man. I mean, it's look, you're grading a lot of cards. I understand. You're trying to do everything, yes, and mistakes are gonna happen, yes. But the mistakes, need to be minimal, which I mean they are in general, but the mistakes have to be understandable mistakes, like getting the wrong parallel or something like that, where the parallels are close, mistaking a bronze and a cop, and something else, or a teal and a light blue prism or something like that, or mislabeling something a mosaic when it's a silver, something along those lines. Sure, I kind of get, but when it comes to things like this, I mean,
there's no reason. There's no reason that this should happen.
No, not at all.
There's two, and with Select UFC this year, there's two different prisms that kind of look alike. They're they're both tricolor. So I understand, like you get the wrong one, in the wrong color but they look very similar. So I kind of get that. But there's no excuse.
Nope.
For this one. So not entirely sure what happened over there, but they got some misplaining to do. Yeah. As I do my horrible Desi Arnaz impersonation there.
No, they do.
You got some splaining to do.
Yep. And I don't think they're going to. The Brady, I think, will get something on, but I don't think it's going to be anything that's going to be anything that would be considered complete, or like a full and excusable reasoning. I think it's going to be whoopsie and sorry, and that's it.
Well, here's the thing about the Brady, though. This reminds me of the big trimming scandal that the FBI was crawling all over the national,
which we've got one going on now.
Yeah, and it's especially with the dollar amount being what it is on this card, this may be one where the art fraud division may actually get involved. And if that's the case, now the good news is Golden is in possession of the card.
Yes.
Which means they can get their hands on it easier. And if it is one, which it looks like to be a press and trim job, there's not many people that have the capability to do that. Very
few.
And I believe there was somebody that was banned by PSA, 6 months or a year ago.
There was.
For submitting a crap load of cards that were done with this exact process.
Yes. No, there were a couple of people that.
Yeah. Now, you know what we call that? We call that a lead.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Right.
It's called a lead, people. Yep. So there's PSA knows who these guys are that they banned for, submitting a bunch of cards with this. This is a great place to start. If we have, if it is something where, the art fraud division of the FBI is going to get involved and they listen to the show, hey, that's a lead right there.
There you go.
I don't need to call into the hotline. Just listen to the show. You'll find all the leads you need right here.
Exactly. Or if anyone wants to, any of the listeners want to tip off the art fraud division, please do, because honestly, it would fall under that category, I think, now because of where we are in the hobby and how these things are viewed and how these are viewed. I mean, you've got major art dealers and art auction houses that are now doing cards. So, I mean,
but forget about that. You also have companies like Alt and Collectible and stuff like that are registered with the SEC.
Exactly.
These are investments.
Yep.
They're tangible assets. They are, things. So, and the art fraud division is actually based here in Chicago. I do happen to know a couple of the agents that work on that team. So I don't know. I'm not going to call them, but maybe I'll point them in the direction of the podcast this week.
There you go.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get a good law enforcement presence listening to the show from now on, which would be fun. Welcome.
Yeah, shout out to you guys. So get them because they're out there and there is something going on. Like I said, there's too many examples lately of too many cards that are being trimmed, that are press and trim jobs. There's too many big cards that are going through that have had these issues in the last year, that there's 100% going on. And I'd like guys, if any of you are listening, to please see if you can track down the history of this card, the sales history, the provenance of this card, and who's owned it before, who got it in possession, when did it change hands, because anyone who got this card is going to post a picture of it. I mean, unless it's the person that got it to trim it, and then they're going to show it. And then they're going to show it out of the crack slab when it's trimmed. So I'd like to see if we could narrow down that focus and find some of these people, because these cards, God, I wish we could get these cards in the hands of like true hobbyists or true investors. Stop letting all these trimmers get their hands on these cards.
Yep.
But I don't know.
Exactly.
It keeps happening.
So, Drew, speaking of investments,
Yes.
I made a decision this week.
Oh, yeah?
It's an interesting decision.
Okay.
I have decided to get out of the basketball card market.
All right.
Yeah. I want to focus on other things. I'm still going to be heavily invested in baseball and soccer.
There you go, my man.
That's kind of going to be my focus too. But I'm going to be getting rid of all my basketball cards over the next couple of weeks. So
why?
I want to. Well, you know what? I'm kind of. I don't know. I just kind of fell out of love with basketball.
I can understand that right now.
I'm a pack ripper.
Yes.
I don't like to get in many breaks, although I do sometimes. I don't like to, I'm not going out there buying single cards. I am the
you buy a case and rip it.
Yeah, exactly. Case, a box, or whatever. And things are, they're getting out of hand price wise. And I kind of want to move into something that is more reasonably priced for the wax that's out there. And, but also has a lot of potential upside to it.
Right.
And I shouldn't be saying this because now everybody's going to, go off and start buying soccer, but soccer is that sport right now.
I agree. Hey, and no, I think you're safe on that because I've been preaching that to this podcast for 2 years and it's still at a reasonable level. So I think we're good on that, at least until the World Cup bump comes here in about a month and a half.
No, exactly. Now, so here's kind of what I wanted to do. I kind of want to, get people's thoughts, not so much about my move, from basketball, whatever, but, I want to pose this out there as a question this week, and we'll talk about it again next week once we, get some comments and some answers and things like that. This is what we like to refer to as fan involvement.
Yeah.
We kind of want to get this going. So I want to hear from you guys, like if you have ever, said, screw it to one sport, decided to dump everything you had at, for that particular sport and move into something else, whether it's cards for another sport, whether it's another type of collection, and things like that. What I don't want to hear about how you sold your entire baseball card collection and blew all the money on coke and hookers.
Right.
Actually, I do kind of want to hear that story.
Yeah.
But we're not going to be talking about that one on next week's episode. What I do want to hear though is, I want to hear your experiences for anybody that's done this before. Even if it's something where you decided, hey, I want to liquidate everything I've got and just start completely from scratch.
Yeah.
I want to hear about it because right now I'm just starting to auction off, the stuff that I find in the boxes, throwing them up on eBay and calling it a day. STR Wireless is the eBay account, by the way. Go bid on those. They're all starting at 99 cents.
There you go.
Sorry, I had to throw in that shameless plug.
Of course.
But I want to hear your experiences because I've got a lot of stuff. How easy was it for you to move? How did you decide what you wanted to sell off and, kind of what you wanted to move into? I know where I'm going with that one, but it's like, hey, I want to hear from everybody about kind of what's going on.
No, I like that. And guys, please let us know. Comment on any of the posts. Hit us up anytime. If you don't want to comment or talk about it, DM us, let us know. I'd love to hear some of those stories. And, I get it 100% because, I've done it a couple of times. And I think it's something in this hobby that I don't think people do enough of. And that's sit back and evaluate exactly what they're collecting and what your focus is. Because if you're not buying every single card strictly to hold forever, you need to know what your focus is, and you need to be looking at the market and adapting, moving and changing and evolving as we go on. And like you said, basketball has gotten 1,000% out of hand, and it's going to get more out of hand.
Well, now here's the thing about basketball, though. The individual card market is still strong.
Very.
So it's not. This isn't a me looking at it as a market as a whole. I'm only looking at one tiny piece of the market, and that's,
of course,
that's wax.
But my point is,
it has gotten out of hand.
Just, people need to. I think it's something that isn't done enough by people, and that's looking and assessing where they are. I mean, at one point in time, I've done this. Most of my football now. I mean, I'll rip some football every now and then, but it's sold almost immediately. And football is my biggest sport and one of my favorite sports. But all of my collection is mostly Panthers memorabilia and some East Carolina cards. And I'll chase one every now and then, but very, very little. The cards I'm going to hold on to forever. But when it comes to everything else, it's memorabilia. Like, people think I have a massive Panther collection. It's mostly memorabilia. But at one point in time, when Topps had the license as well, I was a rainbow chaser. I was collecting every single Panther rainbow of every single year. And it got to the point where I was ripping so much that I was completing the silver sets, the purple sets, the blue sets of the entire thing. And at one point in time, I looked at it once Topps lost the license and I knew it was gone. I looked at it. It didn't have the same appeal and value to me. And I couldn't pursue the collection. And so instead of just holding it, I decided to sell it off and move on and branch out into other stuff. That's kind of when I moved into the old school basketball market at the time, which was a good move at that point. But it was just assessing where I was in the hobby. And I think when a lot of people, especially now, we hear so many people that are frustrated in the hobby, and there's so much, it seems like from online, from a lot of people, a lot of pent up frustration and anger. I think a lot of that can come from just how you're collecting. And so I think, in terms of just, even if it's moving on from something and changing focus, that can be something that can help your view of the hobby as well, and how you feel about the industry.
And that's the thing. There's no wrong way to collect.
Right.
But it is worth reevaluating, kind of what you're doing and what you want to hang on to, what you want to leave to your next of kin. Mm-hmm. And right now I would be leaving them a mess if something happened, right. And they would have had no idea what to do. So, I'm moving out of something that I used to like and I used to love and into something that is kind of a new love. Yeah, for me. If you had asked me 5 years ago what my thoughts were on soccer, I would have laughed.
Me too. 5 years ago, yes.
But now, my son started playing, and I started watching. Then I started watching, the professional stuff. And when I say professional, I'm not talking about MLS. I'm talking about the good soccer, the Premier League and the La Liga, Bundesliga, the Champions League teams, and it's like next thing you know, I'm ripping soccer cards, and then I'm playing soccer once a week, and
exactly.
I just got certified as a USSF referee.
Nice.
And
I feel bad for the kids, but congratulations.
I do feel bad. I feel bad for the kids too. But it's like, okay, evidently, like somewhere along the line, I wound up all in on soccer.
Yeah, and
I didn't even realize it.
Oh, same, dude. You're literally describing me 2 years ago. I didn't realize that I had built up the collection I had. I just kept getting it, building it, and wanting more. And like I said, I kind of followed the same line as you, Jude, playing, coaching. That got me involved in everything else. He's wanting to watch games, so I'm putting on Champions League. I'm learning people, and I'm one of those people, especially in the hobby, when I start to see cards, especially this was around the same time, that soccer cards started to get a little bit bigger. And so when I started seeing the cards, I migrated right to them, and I didn't pretty soon I had built up a collection where I had more soccer than anything else. And it was totally by accident.
Yeah. Who knew? It's one of those, it's one of those weird things, but let's hear from you guys.
Yeah.
See some comments, see some, DMs, whatever, because I want to hear your experiences with, moving from one focus to another, or getting out completely and then realizing this is like the mob and you can't get out and you wind up getting back in again. I want to hear the good, the bad, the ugly. Maybe there's things you wish you hadn't sold. Maybe there's things that you should have sold, but you didn't. let's hear it.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. Let's hear it, you guys. You know, we love to be as interactive as possible on this show, and this show is very much you guys being a part of it as well, the listeners. So please let us know with any stories that you do have, if because I know a lot of people have done the same thing, and I think, you know, like I said, you've got to always be evolving that collection. And if you haven't assessed your collection in a while, hopefully this let us know also if this makes you assess it and change. I'd like to know that, but definitely let us know.
Yeah. And on that note, Drew,
yes,
it's time to pay some bills. So we will be right back with Movers and Shakers.
There you go. And welcome back, everybody, to episode 159 of Let Me Get That Potograph. And as Scott said before the break, it is time for the segment that is still taking the nation by storm. That, of course, is Movers and Shakers. And Scott, I'm going to kick it off this week because
all right. We've skipped Movers and Shakers the last couple of weeks because of interviews and things like that, but it's good to get back to it. So let's hear what you got.
Absolutely. So everyone that has listened to this show for a long time knows I have a rule in football, especially, and basketball, especially, that it takes 3 years to fully evaluate talent and to see what they can do. I'm a very firm believer in that, especially in position players in football and in basketball in general. And this week, I'm following that 3-year rule with the season coming up, looking at the absurdly low prices and going with none other than, for now and possibly for this season, Knicks player R.J. Barrett. Barrett.
I like that pick.
You should, because R.J. Barrett is criminally low. He is at the bottom of the barrel right now when it comes to Prism Silvers, Prism Colors. Like, R.J. Barrett is terribly low. And I'm sorry, but I love this kid. I think he has insane potential. And I don't know. I like it. I don't know if he's involved with the Donovan Mitchell trade or whatever, if that happens or if it's off, whatever happens, I don't know. But when you can get the stuff is so low, I love to see it. I love what they're building in New York. But when you can get some of these cards, I mean, you can get a blue shimmer PSA 10 for under $1,000. You can get PSA 10 green shimmer autos for like $300. You can get reds for $400, $300 in a PSA 10. I mean, optic hollow autos for $300. I mean, 300 or less. I mean, it's crazy low for a player that has tremendous upside, is on a team with a lot of developing players, that's young, that I think is going to be heavily improved in an East that seems to change all the time. I think the Knicks surprised some people this year, but even if they don't, I think R.J. Barrett, his talent has always been there. He showed it incredible development last year, which gave me a lot of promise for this year. The Knicks seem to finally have some people in there that can actually build talent, or maybe he can just is doing it himself. I don't know, but I love R.J. Barrett as a buy now play, and let the season start and let this kid go on a roll, because I think he's going to tear it up this year.
And I like that pick. My only concern about that pick would be, is he going to be overshadowed by another player who is not my pick this week, but is also criminally low? And that's Jalen Brunson.
And he could. He absolutely could.
And that's the thing, is he may play really well, but if Brunson is playing better, you know, it's very difficult to have two younger stars on the same team.
Yes.
And have them both emerge within the hobby as superstars and guys that are gonna kill it. Now, and I'm saying younger guys. I'm not talking about a situation like in LA where you got LeBron, you got Anthony Davis, and you know, those guys who established themselves as superstars prior to going there. It is very rare where you see. I mean, look what happened with the Warriors last year.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, Davion Mitchell and Jonathan Kuminga both on there, and Kuminga is obviously the better of the player and is selling well. Davion Mitchell kind of fizzled a little bit, but both of them even wound up getting overshadowed by Jordan Poole.
I agree. And I'm not saying RJ Barrett's going to go to superstar level. I'm just saying when I see his silver prisms selling right now for under like pretty much $150 at a PSA 10, those can easily double, I think. Easily, and still be perfectly fine and in line, and because Brunson, I think, is going to be the star. We've talked about our both our mutual love and our thought process on Brunson's future. I think he's an absolute star, and I think he's going to skyrocket this year. But RJ Barrett, I can just see he's one of those small plays that, if I'm looking at it, I'm grabbing a couple, and I am grabbing a couple. I'll tell you right now, I am. I'm 100%.
And right now, it is an absolute low risk play.
Yes,
and that's the thing. So is Brunson. Know why people aren't looking at that, and especially with the Knicks.
I know.
I mean, you're talking about one of the handful of like premier marketable teams.
Yes,
that these guys they're going there, and look, Barrett actually had a good year last year.
He played tremendous.
The rest of the team played like shit. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't matter. The card community, I mean, yes, they want to see championships and all that kind of stuff. But if the guy can put up 50 points a game and the rest of the team sucks, his cards are going to still sell well.
Right.
And I don't think he's, I don't think he puts up 50 points a game.
No.
But, I think you want him having that solid year. And I think he finally gets the attention he deserves. He sold well his rookie year.
Oh, he sold great.
He was overshadowed by Zion and Morant, but I think right now, maybe even raw Prism Silvers might even be the better play.
No, they are raw silvers,
because that's
they're under $50.
Yeah, I mean that is the definition of a no risk play.
His PSA 10 bases are only $25. I mean, it's his stuff is absurdly low. Raw is crazy low. Raw numbered stuff is low. I mean, unless you're getting up there to the absurdly priced stuff, that is going to be absurdly priced no matter what. National Treasures, Flawless, stuff like that. Different story. But if you're looking at just someone where you can go in and find some Prisms, Mosaic, Selects, things like that, nice autos, even raw for insanely low prices, they're not going to drop. I mean, I'll tell you that right now, unless he just completely flops and turns into the worst player ever. I mean, he's at the bottom, I think, of his threshold right now of where he's going to be, especially off how he played last year. So to me, RJ Barrett's my pick this week because he's a very low risk, but a possible very high reward.
All right. So my pick this week is a guy that you would know. Nobody's going to recognize his name.
Okay.
Well, let me rephrase that. One guy is going to recognize One guy is going to recognize the name Russell Porter.
Okay.
And he sounds like he, could be playing for the Cleveland Browns because he is from Ohio. But no, this was the guy that stole $87,000 worth of cards from Gizmo at the National that we talked about. And the Atlantic City cops wanted to talk to him, and he said, nah, it's okay. Well, they filed charges, second-degree theft by deception and unlawful taking. And he is going to be moving and shaking his way to an Atlantic City courtroom soon. So I'm not sure if they've taken him into custody yet, but I'm pretty sure there's a warrant out for his arrest since the charges have already come down.
Good.
Whether or not they arrest him in Ohio, I don't believe he's that hard to find.
No. Might be now, but wasn't before.
Yeah, who knows what happened? But whether he gets extradited to New Jersey to face the music, one way or another, he will at least be spending some time in the near future in a jail cell, moving and shaking away from other inmates that probably want to make him his bitch.
And I hope they do.
So that is my mover and shaker this week. Good things do happen sometimes. And I love the fact Sports Collectors Digest, not Sports Card Radio. We know, yeah. I was going to say something really bad, but no, Sports Collectors Digest is they're good people. I love the fact that they used a picture in multiple articles that they've written about this of two Atlantic City cops looking over a case, and it looks like they got some paper in front of them, probably, taking down information for a report to hand to a detective. These two cops I actually met. They had picked up a Cush side assignment as guards at SGC's booth earlier in the show, and they were working together as a team, and I got a chance to talk with them. They are awesome guys, so props to Dodson and Ivanov with the Atlantic City Police Department. Great cops, great guys, somehow involved in this, probably just report taking and then passing off to a detective. But it's like, hey, I know those guys. But yeah, they're a lot of fun to talk to, for half hour, 45 minutes. Took them over to see the SGC 9.5 Mickey Mantle that was on display at Heritage. So good to see those guys getting involved. And maybe we'll make collectors out of them once it's all said and done.
Hey, there you go.
So
I like it. Hey, that's a great one. I like.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of all the ways he can move and shake, and obviously,
use your imagination.
Use your imaginations. Take every episode of Oz that you ever saw. All the prison movies that you ever saw. I kind of wanted to say Caged Heat, but that's a women's prison movie, which I know that was. I only watched that movie because that was on. Ice-T came out with this list of like his 50 greatest things ever.
Right.
And that was on it.
Yeah.
So it's like,
there you go.
Yeah. So go watch Cage Heat.
Hopefully there's a Nasty Nate somewhere in there.
I'm hoping. We'll see what happens. We'll be following this one just like Sports Collectors Digest and everybody else in the hobby, and we'll keep you up to date on that.
Absolutely.
But moving on, keeping up to date on other things that have gone on in the hobby. And there are people out there that didn't think we were going to talk about this week.
Yeah.
No, we're going to talk about it.
Damn straight.
Yeah. So, Drew, fill us in. What happened?
All right. Well, as some of you know, now full disclosure, I did work for Vintage Breaks for a long time, but am not anymore. Not due to this, what we're about to talk about, but due to just like I said, a lot of family stuff going on right now.
The timing may make it seem like it is
right.
This,
yes,
but it's not.
No,
it has nothing to do with this.
Yes, this was decided and happened before all of this happened and everything. So it's nothing to do with that. But Chris Gilmore and Vintage Breaks, Chris Gilmore, a mutual friend of both of ours, very, very good friend of both of ours, was on camera and opening, I forget the year of the pack. I think it was 81.
81 Topps basketball.
Yeah, 81 Topps basketball. And was opening a personal pack for a very loyal customer to the show, and someone that's been a customer of theirs for years, and ended up taking the pack off camera and taking a new pack to open. Now, when this happened, he was obviously called out immediately, and he didn't realize it. He said because he breaks until about 3 a.m. This was at about 1:30 or so in the morning, and he looked at the pack, saw that it had a dinged corner, like really bad. And the way these are shipped, they're not shipped in boxes. They're shipped individually by the pack. So there's a damage to a lot of packs. And so he noticed a lot of damage on the pack and decided to switch the pack so he didn't get damaged cards. Well, obviously, he didn't disclose that when he was breaking, which obviously caused a problem with pack switching and people accusing him of pack switching. So then from there, they go on to try and correct the mistake. And when they go to correct the mistake, he grabs the wrong pack yet again.
Now, correcting that, and I will point out that when they went to correct the mistake, it wasn't something that was immediate.
No.
It was something that, he wanted to show what was in the damaged pack.
Right. To
kind of show that, no, this wasn't a situation where he was looking through the back to see what the card was on the back and noticed it was something good. Exactly. And I don't think he really went through the video and tried to find hey, this is the exact pack that that had it. It's a weird situation because he has been there was an issue that he was called out on in the past regarding a PSA submission that was supposed to happen that never did, and he was the middleman.
Yeah, that was the Christmas situation. Yeah.
Exactly. It was but he didn't communicate well. With the guys who sent cards to him to sub, the guy who he gave the cards to that was supposed to send him in never sent them.
Yeah.
And then kept telling him, oh yeah, I sent him. I sent him. But, and then obviously this situation comes up where it's people have been ragging on him over that PSA situation for years. The only thing that he really did wrong in that situation was not communicate well.
Which is kind of the same situation here.
This is exactly the same type of situation.
All he had to do was say, I'm swapping this pack because it's damaged, and show it real quick.
Show the damaged corner really quick and be like, hey, I don't want to give this one to you, and then pass off. That's all he had to do. And it's breaker etiquette 101.
Absolutely. And that's what we're discussing here.
And you don't take anything off camera. And he's got a multi-camera setup.
Right.
I think he was using 3 cameras. I don't know why anybody wants to look at his face, during a break. I want to look at cards. I don't want to look at the breaker unless she's hot.
Right. Yeah.
That's a different story.
Yeah.
But, look, Gilmore ain't hot.
No.
He'll be the first guy to tell you that.
Exactly.
But, I don't know why he's using the 3rd camera on his face. I understand the one looking up from above so you can see everything, the one looking at the cards, you get the close-ups and stuff. Maybe use the 3rd camera for something else. But, as long as it's not dick pics, we're okay.
Right.
So, that's all he had to do. That's all he had to say. Show the ding pack, but he didn't do it. And as a breaker, you don't take anything off camera.
No.
And if you do, for some unknown reason, have to take something off camera, you say something.
Well, that's the thing that, he called me when it happened and he wanted my opinion on it and what I thought about it. And I'm going to say one of the things, I'm not going to say the whole conversation, but I'm going to say one of the things that I said, when I was talking to him is that it comes down to, you can never inform your customers of too much information, but there's always the chance of the lack of information. So you should always be going above and beyond to explain everything, even if you don't think it needs to be, even if no matter what, it's better to overinform than underinform. And no matter what, anything you do needs to be explained. And even if to 99% of the people watching, they know that. And even if 99% of the people watching understand that and don't care, it doesn't matter. The 1% is what matters. And so
it's okay before you over explain something to sit there and joke about, hey, I know you guys all know this, but there might be a new guy in here, so I'm going to go through it again.
Right.
I heard it 100 times, and feel free to mute. I'll go ahead and stick a thumb up or whatever when I'm done, and kind of go into it. Just have some fun with it. Half the time, right. That's the reason that the Backyard Breaks guys have so many people that are watching their freaking streams, is because there's an entertainment value with it.
Yes.
I would never ever give them a penny of my money.
No,
but I will tune in just for the entertainment value.
Yeah.
So make it fun.
Right. Yeah.
There's nothing that says you got to be a stick in the mud and go through every, single card, as long as you're not over exaggerating and getting over excited about a card that really shouldn't be.
Yes. Let's please cut that out. Davis Mills to $9.99.
I know. It's that just drives. And look, even when the clowns do it.
Yeah.
It's annoying. Nobody likes it. If people make fun of you, it goes viral.
Yeah.
But
big time.
But it goes viral because people are making fun of you.
Yeah.
It's not going viral because people love it. It's not the triple logo man LeBron.
No.
All right, fine. You get some leeway with that card.
Yeah.
You pull a Luka logo man, you get some leeway with that card.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the Luka Samanic, one-of-one logo man.
Save us. Save it.
It's one of those where I'd be like, yeah, all right, that's cool.
Yeah, nice.
Sleeve it up and then move on. But no, Chris made some mistakes. He knows he made mistakes, and it's just a matter of time before he's got to try to fix it again. But the problem is he's got some personal things going on. So I know he's actually away and not doing any breaks for a little while, but it's got nothing to do with this.
Right.
This was something that was pre-planned
for months. 6 months. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so that couldn't have happened at the worst time either. Cause now it's going to look like he's not on, he's not breaking because of this. But no, the people that know him know I'm not, it's not my place to say what the hell's going on. But the people that know him know exactly what's going on, and this has been something like this absence has been planned for months.
No, 6 months plus, man. I mean,
yeah. So him being gone has nothing to do with all of this that went on. But look, he straight up fucked up.
No, 100, 1,000.
And he knows it. And, and I told him when I talked to him, I'm like, look, dude, we're probably going to be talking about it on the show this week. And he's like, that's fine, as long as it's the truth. And I mean, that's all we're about anyway. Exactly. We're not going out there spreading, malicious rumors and all that kind of shit. But look, let's get to the bottom of this, because everybody was ragging on him. Yeah. One, doesn't really know the guy. And two, never bothered to reach out and ask.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they never bothered to be like, hey, maybe somebody should get a hold of him. And look, early on, I was defending him in one of the rooms, one of the larger rooms. And, when I initially saw the video, I actually didn't see the face shot up in the corner. And there's another guy with vintage brakes who from the back kind of looks like Gilmore. I'm like, it probably wasn't him, because I'm like, no, there's no way Chris would pack switch or anything like that. And then I watched it again on my computer where I could see the whole thing. And it's like, holy shit, that is him. Yeah. He did switch the packs, and he straight up switched the packs.
Oh, 100%.
So I spent a lot of time defending him and saying, look, you know what? There's no way. I know this guy. I've known him for years. Like, there's no way he would switch the packs.
Right.
And I was wrong.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
And I'm willing to say that I was wrong. But my first thing after seeing that was like, all right,
it's a mistake.
Let me reach out. I'm like,
didn't expect you to make that.
No, exactly. I'm like, okay, I didn't see that coming. But I'm like, you know what? There's got to be a good reason for it.
Exactly. Because people were saying things like, oh, he saw the back of the pack and saw the card was in it. And I kept telling people, I'm like, dude, it's not in a sealed box. He has these cards at his house all the time for months on end. If he's going to look at the backs of the cards, he's not waiting until he's on camera. So let's move on past that. He can look at the back anytime he wanted. I mean, they're not in a box. So let's move past that ridiculous nonsense. And then it got, like I hadn't seen videos and things like that. And I was like, oh, all right, well, this is a problem. And like I told him, it comes down to you got to inform people. And everyone listening, I know a lot of you are probably breakers. Some of you might be new breakers. Some of you might be setting up on whatnot. I don't know, Loop, any of them. But you have to, like, I just go back to like what I said. You got to over-inform. Whether you cannot ever show and explain too much, but you can always show and explain too little.
Yeah.
And that's
like that old it's like that old customer service adage, under promise, over deliver.
Yes.
In this case, you want to over inform.
Yes.
Because it's just going to help you in the end.
Yeah.
There's not going to be any questions that you're screwing around and, doing things you shouldn't be doing and scamming people. And look, this was, I'm pretty confident this was a legitimate mistake and just lack of communication.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when he tried to fix it, he didn't put that pack aside. That's the other thing.
Right.
The dinged pack, he should have put that pack completely aside, separate from all the other ones. That way he could have. So that was kind of mistake number 3 or 4. But look, it wasn't. Look, he's not at fault.
Yeah.
There's definitely some fault here.
Well, of course.
I don't know if my grammar was quite right on
Doesn't
that.
matter.
I think there was a double negative in there. But look, he definitely, there's some fault at this, and he definitely owned up to it. All the private conversations that, I know he's had with you, with me, with other people. He's not shying away from it.
No.
He admitted that he screwed up, but this, I would not be sitting out there, calling it a scam.
Right. No.
There's a difference between a scam and a mistake.
Yes.
Mistakes happen. Scams are intentional.
Exactly.
And, and look, let's be honest. The guy that was buying these packs was a
very loyal customer and happy and content and had no problem with anything.
Exactly. You want people like that to pull big hits. because it keeps them coming back and buying more.
Oh, and trust me, with this customer in particular, you really wanted him to get a big hit because he will.
And I've got a feel. I think I know who this customer is. I'm not going to tell you who it is on the air, but I'm pretty sure I know who it is.
Right.
And it's, you want this guy to get the big hits. But no, I don't think there was anything intentional. I think it was just a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
It looks bad. Absolutely.
No,
he definitely
look terrible.
Yeah. He screwed up. There's no question. But I don't believe there was any malicious intent.
No one.
And that's the key.
Yes, and I'll reiterate that because I know for a fact there was no malicious intent, and people have their opinions, and that's fine. But
yeah, and look, we're gonna get a lot of shit for saying that because there's guys that are gonna rehash the whole PSA incident and
of course
look at all the videos and all this kind of stuff, and then take that along with his absence, for the next couple of weeks and be like,
sure,
like, no, how was there no malicious? Like, and we are gonna take some heat for that.
That's perfectly fine.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, because like I said, I'm telling the truth. We're always going to be honest with you guys. I would hope our listeners know that after 100.
And look, there's no reason not to.
Exactly.
At some point when he comes back, he's probably going to address it himself.
Oh,
in a more detailed manner. It'll probably 100%. Be on his first video back. I'm willing to bet that there's going to be some statements that are going to be made by him, and that most likely will not satisfy the people that are out to get him anyway.
Right.
But it's still going to be the same. And what gets me is the guys that broke it. It was the Sports Card Radio guys. They've been out to get him for years.
Oh yeah, he's been
going back to the Freedom Cardboard days. Yeah. They've been out to get him, and I don't know why.
They just don't get along. I don't know if there's a single incident, but they've never liked each other. So I mean, I have no clue.
I mean, there could be video out there of Gilmore wiping his ass the wrong way, and they'll jump all over him for that. It's
I know.
I mean, this one I understand it was this was a legitimate call out.
Yeah. Oh, but yes.
Yep. Yeah. They should have and all that stuff. But I kind of wish it was somebody else that had broken this one, because what this really means, I don't think this was anything that was brought to their attention. I think they're literally watching every single video that he does, just waiting for him to mistake so they could sit there and call him out on it. I've got a feeling that's what it is. But yeah, I mean, this was the only thing that was truly malicious is the fact that Sports Car Radio guys have had a microscope on him for 10 plus years.
Yeah. Outside of Brian Gray, I think he's probably number 2 on that list. So
yeah, exactly. And I've got a feeling, after this episode, we'll be numbers 3 and 4.
Nah, I mean, they put me on the show one time and it went well. But yeah, so I hope, he, like you said, he'll be back. He'll address everything, but the optics look bad. And like I said, we'll always address everything for all the people that assumed we wouldn't touch on this week.
Yeah. So that's all I got this week, man.
Yeah, no, I think that's a perfect place to wrap it up. Once again, guys, make sure to tune in. We will have a new episode of Let Her Rip up this week as well. We will also be doing, we'll have some information on a live show here coming up soon that we've been talking about. And you're going to be getting a lot more new content as well over on the socials and a lot of other stuff here in the coming weeks. So very exciting time. And please make sure to hit us up and let us know again about the changing focus in the hobby. Send us those stories. I really want to hear from some of you guys on that, as I want to get the interactive part of this show that we've had since episode 1. I want to continue that and grow that even more. So please hit us up. You guys have been doing amazing with the feedback the last couple of weeks. So please keep it up. It's been absolutely awesome. And also I'd like to thank our sponsors, of course, Show Your Slabs, Vanity Slabs, Denver Card Shows, Card Ladder, and Slab Strong. We could not do this show without you guys. Thank you so much for all your support. But until next week, you guys know the deal. Keep ripping those bats, holding those hits. We'll talk to you then. Peace.